Fishing in his soul. He fished for Okeechobee, Kissimmee, and Rodman Hole, Georgia's Lake Lanier, West Point and Seminole, Center Hill and Dale Hollow, good fishing in the fall. Martin and Eufaula, he gon' fish 'em all. Kentucky Lake and Barkley, Sardis, Ross, Burnett, Toledo Bend, Rayburn, and Conroe he won't forget. He loved Lake of the Ozark, he loved Table Rock. Bull shows on the White River, he ain't gonna never stop. These great American fishermen, he fish anywhere.
Roland Martin pulls out one of his favorite lures for fall bass fishing, the spinnerbait, and goes after some big ones on South Carolina's Santee-Cooper Reservoir.
Here we are today on Santee-Cooper Reservoir. You know, this is where I learned my ABCs of my bass fishing. That's also where I want to teach you, the viewer, the ABCs of spinnerbait fishing, because here on Santee-Cooper, spinnerbait fishing is a big part of catching largemouth bass. So I'm just going to go through a lot of different techniques, a lot of different areas, talk about fishing the grass like we have here, talk about fishing those nice willow bushes, and in a little bit we'll try the nice cypress flats. And we're talking about good big fish. Santee has a lot of adult fish in the 5 to maybe 8 pound class. So with a little bit of luck and with the right color combinations and the right blade sizes, hopefully we'll catch some big fish. Let me just show you what I'm going to do first. First, just what color spinnerbait are going to work. Well, we have a meter here, it's color selector, and this is going to tell me more about what colors to start off with than anything else. Now this is a clear backwater pond area, an area that early in the spring would often wade. It's only 3 or 4 feet deep, it's full of plenty of grass, it's clear water. Now, as you go out on the main lake, of course, we hit the muddy or dingy water, we'll have to take another reading. But for right here, let's just see what we have. We'll turn the meter on. There, it's all the way over on the far side. And I'll drop my probe down to the water, down about 2 feet. Okay, now we're looking at the clear water zone. It's clear water here. So we're talking about the red range with a little bit of blue. So red and blue combination maybe is going to be the choice for the day. Okay. That's the primary color that we're going to work with. Now, let me just show you a few spinnerbaits and show you how I'm going to make that decision. Okay. Get all my spinnerbait boxes out, my trailers, and also my skirts. I have all the color combinations that I ever need to have, and also all the blade sizes and all the body sizes. Now, what's the first consideration? The water temperature right now is about 65 degrees. It's a pre-spawn condition. They haven't spawned yet. In fact, it's late fall. So with this heavy weed condition, I'm gonna try, say, start off with a small diminutive type of spinnerbait, something on the order of a 1/4 ounce blade. And because they're weeds, one of my prerequisites for heavy weed fishing is to use a double or tandem blade spinnerbait. Now on my rod, I have a spinnerbait right here. This is a standard 1/4 ounce tandem spinnerbait. Now let's just see what other combinations are available. We have many, many color combinations that we can work with here. Let's take the white skirt off, and let's see, we need some red and some blue. So what about, here's a red and chartreuse. Let's put the red and chartreuse on, and we want some red and blue. A little chartreuse won't hurt. In fact, for years, chartreuse is my favorite color, just clear water or muddy water. But now that I've been using color selectors, I see that there's subtle colors or secondary colors that emphasize strikes as well. Okay, now let's look at some blue. How about the blue in this plastic worm? Let's cut that worm off, say about 3 or 4 inches. Just break it off, and we'll put the plastic worm on the back of the spinner. Now, I also prefer a trailer, no matter where I'm fishing, muddy water, clear water, a big spinnerbait or a small spinnerbait, I like a plastic worm or some type of plastic trailer in all situations. In fact, that plastic worm has some red or pink on it as well. So now we have a red, chartreuse, and blue combination, and that is a recommended color. Let's try it. Well, let me drop my trolling motor down. Let's make a cast with this spinnerbait to see how it throws and see what it looks like. Well, I see primarily a lot of chartreuse, so let me make one more modification. I said that blue and red were the primary colors for today, and this has some chartreuse on it, so that's very easy to alter. Pull some of the chartreuse off. These skirts are inexpensive, and they can be changed in any fashion. I'm just trying to get the colors in approximately the right proportion. There, I've taken most of the chartreuse off. Now we have primarily a red and blue. Now let's see what that looks like in the water. It looks like a red and blue spinnerbait. Okay. Now, a very light quarter-ounce spinnerbait's my choice again in the grass because it rides up over the grass a lot better. There's a lot of hydrilla and what we call an alligator type of weed here. And so let's just ease along and kind of throw that spinnerbait over the weeds and drop it into the little holes. So I'm just going to continue to cast around this pocket. And again, let's cover a lot of water, folks, because spinnerbait fishing is a fast action lure. It's a reflex action strike. You got to bump the stump, you got to hit the log, or you got to careen off this grass. And you need to make a long, accurate cast and try to cover some water. Remember, folks, a reflex action strike. That bass is laying there. You want to actually bump that grass or that stump or that log right in front of him, and reflexively the fish has no other recourse but rather than to strike the bait because the lure is right in front of him. So kind of visualize where he might be. Kind of picture in your mind a good little hiding spot or an ambush point, as I like to say. And throw that spinnerbait a few feet past that good ambush point and come blowing it right through there. And thinking in your mind that you're going to almost snag that fish. You won't snag the fish out of reflex action and out of intimidation. He'll strike the lure when it finally gets to him. Okay, folks, let's see. Get it right underneath that tree. Drop it down. Ooh, I thought I had a strike. No. Okay, now don't forget the heavy weed beds. Now there's some weeds out in this pond as well. Just a slow, steady retrieve sometimes is the best way to do it. Oh, there's one. I got one. I got a fish. Oh, he's kind of hung for a second. There, he's coming out. Oh, now, come on. Boy, that's a nice, hey, that's a good one there. Hey, a Santee, big old Santee bass. Ooh, it works. You match that color and you're going to catch a good fish, I guarantee you. Whoa, boy, I tell you, these big old bass at Santee are just fantastic. These are big fish. Get them out of those weeds. Tell you, one thing I've often found is don't go too light when you're spinnerbait fishing. It doesn't make that much difference. Just go ahead and run 20-pound line. 17 or 20-pound line is really the deal here. Okay, I think we've gotten him tired out. I don't know. He thinks he's about 10 pounds. He's really not. He's really a nice bass, though. I don't have a net. Try to ease him up. He's about 5 or 6 pound fish. Come on, boy. That's about a 6 or 7 pound fish. Really a good one, I'm telling you. He's a nice bass, and he's hooked right in the corner of the mouth. Well, let me get him loose, and I'll release him to be caught again another day. But as you see, the bass took that red and blue type of spinnerbait. That seemed to be the color combination here in this clear Blackwater pond. And he's certainly a big bass. There's nothing wrong with him at all. So I'm going to let him go. Okay, boys. Let's see if we can't let him go. Now, another secret I have in my spinnerbait fishing is try to work the shadows. We have a shadow and the sun coming this way, so therefore the shadows are on this side of my object, like on this little log pile right ahead. I'll throw past the log pile, come across and drop that spinnerbait down in the shady section of that log area. Again, if I see a stump or if I see a weed line, I'm trying to work the shadows of that weed line or that stump or that log. So it's important to try to remember that bass have non-eyelided eyes. They don't have the opportunity to wear sunglasses to protect their eyes. They, on a bright sunny day like today, they'll seek the protection and the protection against the sunlight, and as a predator, he wants the ambush point as well. So he's seeking protection from the sunlight. There's a good shady spot there. There, I got him. Oh, he's hung, kind of hung for a second. There, he's coming out. Now that he's coming out, I'm getting him in open water. I'm going to take my fighting drag and put it in the regular drag position. He's down in the grass. Okay, here he comes. He's a good one. There he is. I got him. He thinks he's a great big, he's not as big as the other one. But I tell you what, he's a nice bass. In that grass, he's a formidable opponent anytime you catch a bass in the 3 to 4 pound class. That's a good fish. Come on, boy. He's just going nuts here. He is going crazy. Come on, bass. I tell you, I love it. But the main thing is use that fighting drag to get him out of the heavy brush, and then when you get him free of the cover, you can spend some time playing with the fish. He's not going to get away now. He's in nice open water. I can let him fight a little bit, let him jump, and I'll land him. Okay. Now that's a nice little bass, and he really slammed that spinnerbait in that shadow. Now, folks, I'm going to release him, and let me ask you a favor. We catch a lot of fish, and we're using up the resource. We're catching and killing too many of these big fish. Let's take this size fish, and let's let them grow a little bit. Let's let good fishing be available for in generations to come. Let's just practice more catch and release, please. So he's just a beautiful little fish. We'll just drop him back in the water. Be real careful of him. There he goes. Now, I'm going to straighten out that spinnerbait. Check to see if everything's working good. Now, I've just about worked this pocket, and in a minute I'm going to work over those willow bushes, because those willow bushes are an entirely different pattern. And when you're talking about patterns for spinnerbaits, you're talking about weeds, you're talking about heavy brush, you're talking about logs and stumps and trees. So let's get over to those willows in just a few seconds and talk about another pattern. Just throw it back in these little holes. Drop it down in those willows. Get it down. It's 5 or 6 feet deep off some of these places. Just drop it down, drop it down. I got one. Oh, I got one now. Hey, all right. Remember, flip that fighting drag up. Flip it up like that. Now we have a regular drag situation. Look at the size of him. Now, these Santee fish are just mean. I mean to tell you, they're big. These are not little bitsy bass. I mean, these are real hogger fish. Look at him pulling that boat around. I mean, he is really a strong one. He's a strong fish. Look at the side. Look at that way that rod's going. Come on, boy. He's like 7 pounds. They're really good fish here. They're really good fish in this lake. I'm talking about a really good fish. Come on, bass. That's what you're talking about. That's when you're talking about big bass on spinnerbaits. You're talking about these size fish here. This is what you talk about. This is the whole deal right here. I'm talking about 7-pounders. That's what it's all about. And I'll tell you one thing about a big bladed spinnerbait like this Roland Martin Special. This catches more big fish. About 3 years ago when I developed this spinnerbait, I developed for big 7 and 8 and 9 pound fish down in Lake Okeechobee. I had no idea that it would catch fish all over the country. This bait, I've won 3 big tournaments on it on the national circuit. It's been a fantastic bait for me for 3 years now. It works all over the country, but it is primarily a big bass spinnerbait. And here at Santee-Cooper, where we have a lot of big bass, it certainly proves itself. That is really a nice one. That's what we're talking about, 7 or 8 pound bass, like that right there. That's what that big bass spinnerbait will do. Well, folks, again, let's be conservationists about it. I'd like to catch him in some big tournament. He'd be a nice wall mount for many of you folks, so let's release him. Maybe you'll catch him. Okay. Boy, he's a nice one. Okay, boy. He can be caught again another day. There he goes. Beautiful, beautiful fish. Okay, folks, we're on a roll. We're on a real good day's bass fishing here on Santee-Cooper, where there's some big bass to be caught. Remember some of these spinnerbait techniques, because they can sure help you out. Remember, this is a big bass spinnerbait, and I'm crashing the willows at this present time. I'm working these good shady willow spots, just like this willow bush right up here. Let's look over here again. Here's another good willow. Again, I'm going to throw this bait right to the edge of the willow, shake it loose, drop it down in beside the willow. Okay, work it good, work it good. That's perfect. That bait got a little bit hung up, a little bit of weeds. Keep working these good points of willows. Now, I like the willow points probably better than just a normal willow. So right to the edge, drop that willow blade down, and this is a big giant number 5 willow blade on a 3/8 ounce heavy-duty spinnerbait. Now don't be afraid to throw back in the willow. It's a good spot to throw back in there. Just throw in there. It's 20-pound line. I can pull it along and just jig it through there, up and down, drop it at the edge. So many of these big fish are into that willow tree. They're in that willow tree. Well, folks, I tell you, this Santee-Cooper has a lot of good bass patterns to work with. And before we run out of time, I want to show you one of my favorite patterns. And I know these willows are good, and I don't see any more willows in this particular area. But how about the cypress tree? Now, the cypress tree is a great spot for big bass. And here on Santee-Cooper, there's about 3 million cypress trees. So let's go look for a few, and let's talk about how we fish a cypress tree. So just follow me down the lake a minute, and I'm going to show you some exciting bass fishing action with a spinnerbait in the cypress tree. Okay. Come on. These are cypress trees, and they're about the right depth. They're all about 5 feet deep. And that pocket right there looks like the place to start. It's like a real good shoreline right along there. Well, I tell you what, folks, these cypress trees bring goosebumps to me because I've caught a lot of big bass over the years here at Santee-Cooper throwing spinnerbaits in the shade of these cypress trees. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is check the water clarity because it's more dingy here, and there's probably going to be a different color selection involved in this dingier water. So again, I just merely drop the probe down real quickly, drop it down, a little bit deeper water here. Now, it's not as clear water. I'd have to call this muddy to stained. Now, if you look at the muddy to stained band, we're dealing with either a chartreuse, probably primarily a chartreuse looking color. And the blue, it's possibly even a blue, but a chartreuse looks like a real good choice because if you called it stained water, you'd have a lot of chartreuse. And if you called it muddy water, you're starting into the chartreuse band. So chartreuse is probably the best choice for the selection of my spinnerbait. So let's just change skirts real quick. Here on Santee-Cooper, there's a fair amount of cover, but the real big fish like heavy cover. And I probably fish as many cypress trees on this lake as any type of cover. Years ago, the old dead willows were good, but now you don't have the dead willows like you had, say, 10 or 15 years ago. But you have a lot of good cypress trees that have a nice root system. Underneath this cypress tree trunk is a hair root system that sticks out on both sides. Now, I'm coming in from the shady side. Now, I'll come in, I'll make a little small cast, past the tree, drop it down in the shade of that tree. Ooh, he didn't hit, but I'll get one soon. I have a feeling. I know there's big bass in these cypress trees. No question about it, folks. Oh, there's one right off this tree. Nice one. Come on, come on. Hey, that's a good one. Hey, that's another big bass. Oh, they took but a nice one. I tell you what, he's about a 5-pounder. He thinks he's about 8. The way he's fighting. I mean, that thing is going nuts. He's going nuts. He's going crazy, son. Get away from that trolling motor. He is a good bass. Boy, he was laying right by the side of that cypress tree. He was right by the side of that tree. He just is so nice. Now, this fish was a Tupelo gum tree. You notice this bush here is not a cypress tree. He was laying. Oh, that's a good one. That's about a 5-pounder. He was laying right here, but there's 3, you notice right here, there's 3 Tupelo gums, and he was laying right there. When that spinnerbait came by that spot, he darted out of that little hole, and he got that thing. And he was laying right in that Tupelo gum tree, so I'm going to let him go. Oh, what a nice bass. Okay, boy, go ahead. Be caught again another day. Okay, let's get after him. Now, that last bass, that trailer, that little chartreuse trailer I had, that little rubber trailer came off. So let's put another one on. It just takes a second. Often when you're using these little trailers like that one, you'll have need for a dozen or more in a day's time. They're pretty fragile. They fall off the hook real easily. I just put them on about an inch along the hook, and that's it. Okay, now, let's just see if there's not some more bass here. It's been an enjoyable day, folks. You know, fishing on a nice autumn day like today with just virtually no wind, nice pleasant temperatures. It's a pleasure to be afield. And certainly a bigger pleasure to catch a trophy bass, and that we've done. Oh, another fish right by that cypress tree. Ah, I broke my line. Look at that boil coming out of there. That was a big old bass. There. That is not a strike. I'm telling you what, they're going to fish you in here. Fish you in here. And pitch little old time. Well, I got a good fish on. Hey, I'm talking about another hog. Oh! The Santee has been just as good this trip as it's always been. It's been a fantastic place to fish. I'll tell you what, folks, if you ever get down to South Carolina way, you just have to try this lake, because it has some big largemouth bass. Oh, look at the size of him. Now, I'm talking about a big one, folks. That's what it's all about. A great big Santee-Cooper special, about a 7 or 8 pounder. And that's from fishing a big spinnerbait in a cypress tree. So the next time you want to get some real good action, try the southeastern part of the United States. Try a big southern reservoir like Santee. And these cypress trees and that spinnerbait, I think you'll catch big ones like this, too.
Roland Martin is catfishing using Little Stinker Bait Company's Catfish lure and cheese-flavored tube bait, while special guest Cholie Clark goes after the lunkers with native shad.
Okay, here we are, Charlie. I'm looking at the depth on. Boy, there's all kind of... Let's see, we're in about 10 feet of water right here.
Right. That's the drop is right in here. That's some bait.
Look at that. That's right there. Huh. Oh, yeah.
That's some more.
Well, now, you want me to throw that cast net, right, Charlie? Get some chum?
Yeah, that's what we need to get started.
Okay.
There's a pretty good school of them right here if you can get ready.
Okay.
I'll try and keep us on top of them.
I'm accustomed to throwing nets, so, you know, we catch all the shiners we fish with down in Florida with cast nets. You just get me over where you want me to throw, and...
We passed over them right over here.
Okay.
Roland, we hit a school of shad right now. They're pretty thick.
Okay, when you tell me, I'll throw the net whenever you want.
I think now's a good time.
Okay, you ready? You want me to throw?
Yeah, they're on us right strong right
Okay.
now.
I'll just throw it right out in front of us here. Hope we get them.
Good shot.
Hope we got them. Okay, son. Hey, I feel it hitting the net. How deep is it here? Pretty deep, isn't it?
About 17 feet. We still got bait on the flashes.
Okay, I'll pull it up. Okay, let's see what we have here. Okay. Son, we got them.
Oh,
look
yeah,
at all the
that
shad.
looks good.
Look at all the shad.
Oh, that's super.
Son, look at them. Millions of them.
First cast.
Daggone, there's plenty of shad in there. Let's get them in that bucket. Boy, there's all kind of daggone shad in there. Dump it all out. And,
I think that's all the chum we'll need for today.
well, I tell you, I didn't realize there was so much daggone, so many shad in this lake. Look at this. Look at the one throw with the little old net and that daggone thing. There's jillions of shad in there. Oh, look at them all. Wow. The threadfin and gizzard shad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me put that net away.
Looks like you had a lot of practice for that cast net. I think we got enough to last us all day. And then some.
But now, that is basically There's two kinds of shad here. This bigger one, that's a gizzard shad right here. And the rest of these shad are what?
We got some thread fin, primarily thread fin. Got a few gizzards in there too, I believe.
So we'll use those. And how are we going to do that? Now we're going to cut them up or something?
Yeah, and take this knife and cut them into 5 or 6 pieces and just drop them around where we're fishing, and it usually attracts.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Well, now the next deal is we got to get anchored, I guess, and find a good ledge. You were talking about in this hole there's some 17, 18-foot water.
Yeah, and we're real close.
We're going to just anchor right on that good area. Okay, well, we have the bait. Let's go. You know, Charlie, for the last 2 years I've come to Santee, it's been cold and windy. I mean, it's been beautiful weather until the day I get here, and all of a sudden a storm comes rolling in. But, you know, we catch catfish. Last year it was about like this, and we caught catfish anyhow.
Well, if you can find these little deep water creeks.
Protected, it's thoroughly protected here.
And get some concentrated bait, you can usually hide from the wind.
Now, you told me you've caught huge catfish here at Santee just fishing for stripers. And
Sure.
Like, you've caught, what, 30 and 40-pound catfish? Jigging for?
I've caught them with live bait. I've caught them jigging. There's just an abundance of catfish.
You primarily fish a lot of striped bass. I mean, that's your love. You'd rather fish
That is my first love.
But then you catch a lot of catfish and bass just on the side whenever you want to. Well, that's quite a resource here. I really think, you know, the catfish has added a lot to the economy of the area. The guides, for example, they can fish both stripers and catfish the whole year.
Well, they really can. And
I got a strike. He's got it. I got him. I got him. I got him. Look at him go. Look at him go. Wait a minute. Man, look at him. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, son. I want to twist that drag. Huh? Look at him. Look at him take that drag. Well, it's got to be a big catfish. I mean, it's got to be. Look at that thing go. Huh? Whoa, son. He stopped for a second.
Hope he's not getting wrapped.
I don't think so.
Did he?
Let me get back. Well, that's a big fish.
He looks big. You sure you didn't get a
You see him? Well, I'll tell you what, that's a big old fish. Oh, heavens. Hey, I'm talking about a good one. Wow. I'll tell you what, Charlie. This one's all right.
Let me know when you're ready for the...
I'm getting him in this way some. Wait a minute, he's coming my way. He's coming my way. See if you can get him in the net. Get him in the net. Hey, all right. Charlie, I'll tell you what. Santee catfish, son. Look at the size of him. I'll tell you what, folks, this is something else. These are big fish. How big is he?
He's a good 15, 18, possibly 20. You all right?
Yeah. He got off for a second. He unhooked himself. I can get this thing. Here he goes.
You want to roll him out?
I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to get this thing out. Yeah, let's just roll him out on the floor.
All right.
He's too rambunctious to do anything with right now. Okay. I'll tell you what, folks. These are big catfish. These size fish are phenomenal. These are big old blue cat. Look at the size of him. He's about 15 or so pounds. He's a monster. Let's string him on that rope. All right. There we go. I tell you what, these things are something good to eat. Well, they'll bite you too. I tell you what, folks. I tell you, the Santee-Cooper, without a doubt, is the new home of the catfish. It's got to be the catfish capital of the world right now.
Without a doubt.
With the size of these fish, it's unbelievable. Let's see if I can open his mouth and get that rope through.
Yep.
I don't see the rope. There it is. Okay, folks. We got him now. There we go. Big old catfish. You know, he hit that prepared bait real well.
He sure did.
Yeah, he did. He hit that little old prepared bait, and I think that's the trick for catching these catfish. It's a lot easier. I know you have the shad on, and the shad work well. But, you know, we need to show these folks what I'm using because it sure does work.
It's simple, too.
I'm going to tie this catfish up to this trolling motor. If he doesn't rip the trolling motor off. Okay. Get this tag on. Put some more stuff in there. And all I did last time, Charlie, was just merely insert the nozzle of this stuff into that tube and just fill it up with bait. There it is. So it's all just oozing out like that. Oop, piece came out. You see there's little holes all over it.
Mm-hmm.
That's ready to go. Okay, it's ready now. And I don't know what they think that is. Of course, that's a cheese-flavored thing. I'm gonna let it on back down to the bottom. So when it gets to the bottom, what we did before, we raised it up off the bottom. What about?
Right, about 2 or 3 cracks.
2 or 3 feet. Okay, it's off the bottom, 2 or 3 feet. Now we just put it in free spool, and so that the clicker's on.
Right. And we're ready to go.
Lay it down, and it's suspended off the bottom. And as this heavy wind blows us around, we're working a lot of water. We're working a lot of air. Now, Cholie, with your occupation, you're a realtor by occupation.
Right.
But you also head up the Santee-Cooper Authority, or the Santee-Cooper Country
Promotions Commission.
Promotion Commission. You're the chairman of the Santee-Cooper Promotion Commission.
That's right. It's a 5-county region around the Santee-Cooper Lakes, and our primary effort is to promote and develop the lakes.
You know, your dad was very instrumental in getting this whole thing going. He was quite a sportsman in his own right, and he started that restaurant there at Santee, and gosh, every time I'd stop in, he'd treat me to a hamburger or a cup of coffee. And now that you've taken over that whole operation, you're both a realtor and a restaurant entrepreneur, and
right.
a couple other things. You know, you're developing a golf course up there. So, well, I tell you, Charlie's got his fingers in a lot of things, but he's quite a fisherman, and that's the main thing. We're all sportsmen here, and we appreciate these big stripers and these big catfish. It's really something. Oh, is that a strike? Hey, look, hey, you got a strike, you got a strike, you got a strike, you got a strike. Boy, he's taking it, look. Yes, I'll tell you what.
Oh, he's nice.
Go. What are you talking about? Hey, that's a good fish.
I can't seem to turn him.
I'll tell you what, these big old catfish are unreal. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. I better get the net.
I don't know.
Huh?
Might not be ready for the net.
It's a pretty big fish.
Yeah. You want to go down now.
I'll get this line in. Get the line over this way.
Here he comes.
How big?
Ooh, look at that boy.
How big is he?
I can't see him, but he's right here.
Oh, hey, look, it's a big flathead.
Yeah, it is.
That's a big flathead. Oh, look at him. Oh, hey, I tell you what, flathead cat. You know, there's not too many places around where they have big flatheads. Look at that flathead. That is a neat fish. I think they're really neat. Big flathead cat. Look how big his mouth is. He's not as big as the other one, but he's a browner looking fish. It's really nice. Boy, that's a good old flathead cat. Hey, while I'm holding him up like this, you might get that other rope, and we'll run him through his gill. I tell you what, folks, there's really, 3 species of fish here, right, Charlie?
Right.
You have the channel cat, and then you have the flathead cat, like this one, and then this is an Arkansas blue cat, what we have here.
The blues are relatively new to the lake, Roland. We just got
the flathead. The flatheads are new fish too, aren't they?
Right. We just got the blues back at the 60s, and they've done terrifically well.
But you've had the channel cat all along.
Right.
Okay. So come up through here, through there. And, you know, flatheads are a little easier to hold on to. They have a bigger mouth. Then you can get that. There we go. Well, that's a big old fish. Now he hit the gizzard shad, right?
Sure did.
Hit the gizzard shad on it? Okay. Get him out. Okay. Okay, folks, I'm telling you what, there's quite a bit of difference in these two fish. Let's just show the people what the difference is between a blue cat and a channel cat. Oh, no, and a flathead cat. I guess the main difference in a flathead is he's got a flat head.
Right.
Look how flat his head is compared to that blue.
A little difference in the color.
Looks like the fins are bigger. Like this fin here on the blue this is a big lobe type of fin. And again, with the blue cat, you notice this little pectoral fin is a lot smaller than the flathead. But they're both just real nice fish. And there's look at the size of the mouth of that flathead. Flathead's got a lot bigger mouth. That's something. Okay, well, boy, we got 2 nice ones. You know, if nothing else, what would happen if I brought one by your restaurant? Would you cook one up for me?
You find out they taste as well as they fight.
Really? There we go. Well, you know, the state's been doing a lot of really positive things with this fishery. You know, they started this catfish program in the late 60s. About the time I left Santee-Cooper, they were stocking blue catfish then, and now they're growing up to mature adult fish, so the fruits of the labor are now being realized. Also, it's a great thing that they're now instigated the 18-inch size limit. That's a real positive thing for the state of South Carolina.
I feel like the Wildlife Department and the state's done a terrific job with this lake. The catfish fishery has developed so that there's 60 and 70 pound fish caught fairly regularly.
That is so big. People around the country don't, you know, they don't have that many big catfish around, except here at Santee. There's more big catfish here than I've seen in any system in the country.
I think that's a fact, and I think that the striped bass are coming on very strongly. And
oh, speaking of striped bass, the state now is stocking some 800,000 stripers a year.
That's right. This is the second year they've done that, and they plan to continue with that. And they've talked about other positive management efforts. Lowered creel limits have been considered.
Well, you know, I think the American public has to realize if we keep all the fish we catch all the time, we're going to run out of fish. There's going to be more and more fishermen. I think people have to realize a lower creel limit's an advantage to everyone. It's going to keep a bigger stock of fish in the lake.
And a better quality fish.
Sure. No question about it.
Yeah. Roland, our baby bow rod's getting a little attention.
Yeah. I'm gonna hit him in a second.
Oh, right.
He's got it.
He looks like another good one.
I'm gonna take this click off. Oh, I got a good fish here. Well, I hope he doesn't get in those roots. Come on, I'm gonna tighten that drag up a little bit. Keep him away. You know, if you keep him up off the bottom, secret here at Santee, there's so many cypress knees and logs down in the water, that you gotta get them up. Oh, he's taking it again. Oh.
Looks like a good fish.
Yeah, it's a good fish. They're going right. Yeah, he's a good fish. Get up.
You going for the anchor rope?
Oh, the size of him. Oh, man, I'm talking about a big one here. Whoa! Whoa! Hey, that's another big one. I'm telling you what, son. That is nothing but a hog. Another hog. It looked like a big blue cat. That's what it looked like. Big blue cat. Look at the size of him. See if I can't get him down around this anchor rope. Okay. Well, I tell you what, these things are stout, aren't they?
They are.
Huh? These big cats are something. They are something else. Okay, Charlie. Wait a minute. He went down here. Well, I'll tell you what, they're strong. They're really, they have a lot of power. They really do. I'm going to try to lift them up here. Lift them up. Okay. Hey, look at this. Another big old blue. Another big old blue. Let's see if I can't get them out. Boy, they can. There's something else. Something else. He's about 10 or 15 pounds.
Yeah, I'd say so easily.
That's a good catfish. That's a good catfish. Tell you what, Charlie, if we can untie this thing, we'll put him on the rope. That fish hit the center line. Looked like the center line went first. And then all of a sudden he took that, get that spinnerbait off there. I don't want a spinnerbait. Okay. Get him in the side here. Boy, these are nice sized catfish, aren't they?
They really are. And to think that you could catch something 4 times that size is kind of hard to believe in.
What's the biggest catfish you've caught?
I'd say a little over 40 pounds.
A little over 40.
41,
Okay.
42.
Yeah.
Right.
Grab that rope if you can.
There it is. It's coming.
There we go. There we go. Boys, I tell you what, this is getting to be fun. Big old catfish. I tell you what, we've already got a pretty good bunch of catfish here. really kind of a rough day today.
Yeah.
There's one. Wait, there's one. I'm gonna set the hook. Oh, son. Hey, what you talking about?
Looks like a nice one. Can you tell yet?
I can't tell. Charlie, that's the biggest one today. Look at the size of him. Oh, he's taking drag. Oh, I bet he's going. I bet he goes 40 pounds, Charlie. That's really a big catfish. I'm talking about a monster. I mean, that's really a big. Look at the size of that one.
Tell me when you're ready.
I'm talking about a big one. Woo! Look at the size of this one. I'm talking about really a big catfish. Huh? We're talking about a hog or here. Look at the size of that one. Look at the size of that big catfish. Man, we're talking about a 40-pounder. I mean, really a big catfish. That, I tell you what, it's not ready yet, but when I get this thing in position, I'm going to try to slide him right back in here.
All right, you give me
try to net
deal.
that fish. Huh? Oh, I'm talking about a big one. This is the biggest one yet. This might be the biggest catfish I've ever caught. This is really a big catfish. Really a big catfish. Look at the size of that one. Huh?
I believe he's 30, but he might go 40.
I mean, that's really a big catfish. Okay, come on. See if we can't get him down in position. Boy, you talking I'm talking about a big one. We're talking about a big catfish. I mean, that's a monster.
I mean
huh?
it is.
How big is that one? I mean, I'm talking about a really big catfish. Folks, we have done it here, son. I mean, we have caught a hog. This thing looks like a submarine. I mean, a submarine. That fish has got to go 40 pounds or better. I mean, a monster catfish. I'm telling you what, folks. Let's get that other part of that stringer up. I got to show everybody this. This has been a heck of a day, Charlie.
I mean it has.
You put me on some monstrous fish.
Look at this.
I mean, these fish. Oh, folks, we have done it here. Son, we got some monsters, and look at this hogger I got here. You're talking about the biggest catfish that I think I've ever seen. This fish might be 45 pounds or so. It's just a giant. I'll tell you what, that's unbelievable. This is what it's all about, folks. Huge, giant catfish. And Charlie, I want to lay this fish down for a second, and I want to thank you for taking me out. It's been great.
It has been great. I hope you can make it again.
Charlie, thanks again for making it all possible. You're quite a guy, quite a striper fisherman and a catfisherman both. So folks, the next time you want to catch some really big fish, try catfishing Santee-Cooper in South Carolina. So we'll see you again next week.
Rio Grande, heading about a hot spot down by the Santee-Cooper Dam. Great American fisherman, you fish anywhere. Anywhere there's water, Lord knows he'll be there. He's just like a gypsy, mighty hard to hold. The great American fisherman got fishing in his soul.